Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Virtual Self-Determination Conference. My name is Beth Swedeen, and I'm Executive Director with the Wisconsin Board for People with Developmental Disabilities, and BPDD welcomes you to this conference. Of course, we wish we could have been in person, and we were actually planning an in-person conference, but we wanted to make sure that everybody was safe and healthy. So we're coming to you virtually, but don't worry, you're going to learn so much, make new connections, and of course, have a lot of fun. During the last year, BPDD has learned so much about what's important to keep people together, even if they can't be physically together. Our grants and our programs have continued to run, and we've continued to advocate for people with disabilities and their families, especially in light of the added challenges of the pandemic. We've been supportive of making sure that people have full access to vote. We've shared with our legislators the importance of family caregivers and, of course, the caregiver crisis, which has affected so many people and their programs. But we also know that there are so many things left to do. We are so excited that we're starting a Partners in Policymaking class within the next week, and we will continue to work with people with disabilities and their families around their great ideas to build inclusive communities. I also want to take a minute to talk about the importance of vaccination and the hard work that BPDD has done to get out the word about the safety and the efficacy of the vaccine, as well as to provide community grants so that folks in their own communities could set up pop-up clinics and also arrange for in-home vaccination for folks who have a hard time getting to a site. That's still something that we offer and are available, so talk to any of our staff if you need more information about how to coordinate to get people to a vaccine site or if you need a vaccine yourself. We can't say how important it is to get everyone vaccinated as quickly as possible, because that's how we're going to get back to in-person things that we all miss so much. I also want to take a minute to talk about our Living Well project and the hard work that we've been doing to prevent and diminish abuse and neglect. That is also something that the pandemic has taken a toll on as people have become more isolated and had less opportunity to share anything that's concerning with them. So again, contact us if you have any questions about that. But abuse and neglect prevention is a big piece of what BPDD is doing right now. So now it's time to move on to our keynote presentation, which really illustrates what we've been talking about with our theme of working together, and especially underscores the importance of resilience and not giving up, which is what all these organizations and folks have done. We're going to be hearing from some amazing community partners that BPDD gets to work with, and those include People First Wisconsin, ALICE, which is a Milwaukee grassroots organization that supports families who speak both English or Spanish, and then also Parent University out of Milwaukee and Love Inc. All of those organizations will talk about how they persevered through the pandemic, but also you will be hearing the stories of individual people with disabilities and their families and the experiences they had and how they pushed through as well. So from us at BPDD to all of you in Wisconsin and across the United States, because yes, we do have folks coming in from everywhere, enjoy the Self-Determination Conference.
Good morning. I am Rachel Turcosis. I am a self-advocate. I work for the state of Wisconsin. I am also one of the hosts of the Self-Determination channel. For all of us, this past year has been like no other. We've all had to adapt to new realities, new ways of socializing, new ways of working. While these changes were sometimes challenging, they also brought opportunities. In today's keynote, you will hear how members of our community have worked to keep people connected, to provide resources, and to share their talents. Their actions over this past year show how we can accomplish great things when we work together and support each other. Thank you and enjoy the keynote.
Well, hello, everyone. I am Elsa Diaz Bautista. I am honored to serve as the Executive Director of ALAS, Alianza Latina Aplicando Soluciones, a nonprofit organization dedicated to serve people with disabilities, specifically family with children with disabilities in the Milwaukee area. And I am so happy to be here to share this time in this conference with all of you.
Hi, I'm Ashley Matthey. I'm a self-advocate from Rhinelander. I am the president of People First Rhinelander chapter. I teach classes up north on Safe and Free. I am a host of the Self-Determination channel. I'm excited to see you guys all today. I hope you learn a lot at the Self-Determination Conference and learn how to be more self-determined.
Hi, everyone. I'm glad to be here with you today. My name is Cindy Bentley. I'm the Executive Director of People First Wisconsin, which is a statewide advocacy group. We advocate for the people with and without disabilities.
Hi, everyone. Julie from Madison here. I work for People First Wisconsin as an outreach advocate, and specifically around the area of COVID-19. And it has been my position for the year to kind of help explain to advocates what COVID-19 is and some of the changes that are going on in our world as a result.
Hi everyone, I'm Marquise Gardner. I'm a Team Milwaukee Special Olympics athlete. I'm on the board of directors for Special Olympics. I also published a book called Have You Ever Wished You Were Someone Else? How I'm an Afro-American living with autism, and how even as a young man with autism, how I try to be part of the world in a positive way.
Hi everyone, it is so wonderful to be together with you all today. I'm Stephanie Prim, and I'm the Executive Director of Living Our Visions Inclusively, and I'm coming to you today from my office here in Madison. And we are a nonprofit that works with adults and youth with developmental disabilities, and we help people live their best lives and support families to work together to design and develop what that might look like.
Hi, I'm Nathan Ellery, a Bridge Builder member. I am a social type of guy, like to communicate in multiple ways, doesn't matter. And I like going for walks and watching sports.
Well, hello, I'm Dolores. I'm the founder of Parent University, the Resources Center for People with Disabilities. I try to help people find everything to make them comfortable on a day-to-day life basis. It can include housing, medical, schooling, IEPs, whatever the need is. There's no age limit. I try to accommodate everybody here at Parent University. And I feel so good about today. We're going to have a great time in this virtual conference. Just being able to be around people and talk to people is really going to make my day. Thank you so much for coming and being among our virtual conference.
Hello everyone, I'm Sydney Badeau. I'm a disability advocate. I'm on the Wisconsin Board for People with Developmental Disabilities, and I'm on the Wisconsin Youth Leadership Forum Board of Directors and the National Council of Self-Advocates. I'm coming to you from southern Wisconsin here on my farm. You might be hearing bird sounds, or who knows, a chicken might walk by here too.
Like you, we were stuck in our homes this past year and a half and had to find ways to pass the time. And how I passed time was I called my friends on the phone, I watched Netflix, and I even had a virtual birthday party. We played lots of music and stuff. And the Night to Shine prom was virtual, and we all danced to certain music. So that was very fun.
I was fortunate enough to be with my family, my immediate family, my husband, and my young adult daughter. We did a lot of cooking. We took advantage of staying home and did some remodeling to the homes. We took lots of walks outside. I picked up a new hobby of painting rocks.
I was in isolation with my son, Albert. It was like we became close and we was partners in crime, watching TV, and you just laughing and just having a great time. You know, we enjoyed each other.
I was in isolation with my mom and my grandmother. We always found something to do, whether it was going walking at the lakefront or, just to get out the house, just to enjoy the nice warm weather and get a breath of fresh air.
I was in isolation with my parents, my 2 dogs, my 2 cats, and my 18 chickens. To pass time, I got outside most every day and was exercising and walked the dog, or I'd take care of my chickens. Another thing I did during the pandemic is I took pictures because it showed people how I see the world.
During COVID, I lived in my apartment with my 2 baby kitties. I passed my time by watching TV, taking online art classes, yoga, and then on Sundays, I had breakfast with my friend on Zoom.
I continued to live independently with some weekly supports. I watched the party version of Netflix. I was able to watch with friends and relatives, as well as I read some books with my nieces and nephews.
I was in isolation with my mom, sister, dogs, and stepdad. To pass the time, I took walks around my neighborhood, watched a lot of TV, and I played games with my family.
It was just me and my husband and our pets at home. We started taking longer walks with our dog, and that was just really nice, and a chance to explore our neighborhood. We watched a lot of TV, as I'm sure all of us did, and it was a real interesting opportunity for us to see what our pets did all day when we weren't home. It turns out the answer was sleep.
When COVID hit, there was a lot of uncertainty, like what exactly is it, what's going on, when's it gonna get solved, and when can things go back to quote unquote normal.
I'm used to being out in the community and with my friends and going to Special Olympics and to church and all kinds of activities, and I didn't know how I was gonna get through this.
I initially didn't think it was going to last so long. I thought maybe we would be inside for 2 weeks with the stay-at-home order. And then as things continued and got a little more serious, I had to deal with a lot of changes like telehealth and not being able to see people I love and care about. So I started to get a little more concerned, probably, a little bit further in.
It made us have to distance, and we couldn't have anybody come in the house, and we couldn't go out anywhere really. So it was sad.
You're not really sure how to handle it. You're not really sure what it entails. And the fact that I am a very social person and I like talking to people all the time, it was hard to adjust at first.
I mean, it was a roller coaster ride. Sometimes it felt really good and we were very creative about how to spend our time and how to make it count. And sometimes we got desperate and felt like we were missing our lives.
I had never heard of anything like this before. I've never seen anything like this or been a part of anything like this. So what I had to do is I had to do my homework and do a little research. I got to try to get through this.
Every time you left the house, there was this big, it felt like an event, and something you had to kind of strategize. Like, do you have your mask? Do you have your hand sanitizer? Where's this? Where's that? And so it was kind of a big production every time we went anywhere. And so our world definitely shrunk.
I didn't really understand it, but when it comes down to it, all I have is my faith, and that's what's been keeping me going is my faith, because I've had some harder situations than COVID.
This unusual time forced us to find new ways to stay connected. A lot of positive changes and opportunities came out of it.
We closed our office on March 13, 2020. On that day, when we closed our office and we were wondering what would become to our services in our families, we had no idea the possibilities and what we were capable of. It became very apparent that ALAS was going to have to figure out how to meet new needs, new community needs, new family needs that we had never done before. Mental health was part of that. Ways to, defer rents and ways to find food distribution and be able to access resources that are so important for their loved ones and for them to be able to survive. Now, ALAS was not in isolation on this situation, right? Everybody was quarantined. So it's not like that we were the only ones. So everybody else was doing virtual and everybody else was trying to do those services. So being able to figure out how Milwaukee County programs were being offered so that we can communicate that to the families, and how the students and the children attending school can continue to receive the services and continue to receive the necessary aid and be able to thrive in their school was a very, very good challenge, But one of the things that I'm most proud of is that we were able to connect our families, and that families that never thought that they would be technical or that they could use their phone as a small computer became very technical and became very computer savvy and phone savvy. We did this by creating private groups in messengers and private text groups in which we were communicating with families on real time, 24/7 as needed. We quickly were able to create and define training manuals and training flyers and step-by-step things to provide to our families. One of the things that I'm most proud of is that families that never thought that they would be technical became very technical and became very computer savvy and phone savvy. Now, when we get back to in-person services, we're definitely going to be hybrid. We have to continue to promote what we have learned and what we have instituted as an option and a valuable option for us to provide services. And that is being able to, connect with us virtually and connect with us via technology. And happy to say we partner with many community organizations, local organizations like the South Organizing Center, SOC, which was providing resources, information, up-to-date information, and ways to defer rents and ways to find food distribution and things like that. And then now we have moved all the way to 1.5 years in which we are the ones providing the food distribution for all ALAS families. And Diego Becerra is one of our family members. And last year we celebrated his birthday in the middle of the pandemic. So here's Diego.
Hi, I'm Diana Becerra. I'm Diego's sister, and this is our mom, Maria. Diego, do you remember your birthday party? Do you remember the cars and the balloons? What was your favorite part?
A toy.
The toys?
Oh,
and the movies?
Book.
And the books that he got as gifts?
So.
And that it was sunny that day. Do you remember how cold it was and how you had your face mask on and everybody was at a distance?
No.
Because of COVID?
I had to shut down my office, and I'm thinking it's only going to be 2 weeks, but it ended up being 1.5 years. I had to change how I do business. The main thing that I wanted to make sure that my members were well taken care of during COVID. So I had to come up with a plan B, as I call it. And I started a online letter so I can communicate with my members, because I wanted them to know that I had their back. My letter went out to not only my members, but to organizations that supported people with intellectual disabilities. I gave them advice on different things, what they could do in their home, like how to take care of themselves, make sure they wash their hands and all that. And then I also put some mental health stuff in place for them, the Hope line and the 1-800 suicide line. And of course, my number, so they can reach out and talk to me if they need to, because I know this was going to be a hard time for not only for me, but for my members too. And people did reach out to me, and I was very thankful. And if I couldn't help them, I got them hooked up with the person that could help them. For me to do my job, I had to learn how to do Zoom. I was scared of Zoom and I didn't think I could do it, but I don't know what I would have probably did without Zoom. So I did Survival Coalition online on Zoom. I did all my regular meetings, the self-determination channel, and we were able to keep our standard meetings with the governor's office on Zoom. And we had some different topics. We had one on caregiving. We had one where we talked about the state institutions. We talked about the million ways for people in the workforce. And we talked about the shortage of caregivers. So my executive committee and myself and our office manager all were on there. So I was happy that we were able to keep all our meetings at the governor's office by Zoom. At first, when we started Zoom with the governor's office, we couldn't see their faces, and we said, we want to see your faces. So we had that happen. So we also had our staff meetings, and we had them over Zoom. Everybody would go around and say, what are you going to do for yourself this week? And we also would go around and say, what we're going to work on. So we hold ourselves accountable to get done our work. One other thing, I hired 3 outreach advocates, and one was Julie Blasky, and she keeps our members informed about COVID-19.
The biggest concern that I saw with people with disabilities around COVID-19 was probably isolation. We worked really hard to get technology to folks so that they could join our Zoom meetings. We called them self-advocate meetups. So we started them in August 2020 and ran them twice a week, every Tuesday and Thursday, once in the morning and once in the evening for self-advocates and supporters. We just checked in on each other, made sure everyone was getting their needs met. And then we would talk a lot about COVID-19, how to keep ourselves safe and the people around us healthy. We did a lot of education around vaccines and their importance to contributing to the community staying safe. And professionally, my biggest challenge has been just trying to make sure that everyone feels connected and supported. Internet is not always available in every area, so making sure that those folks get a contact from me or someone else in the advocate community, weekly, so that we're checking in on folks, and always trying to make sure that language got out to people in a people first language, accessible format. I've seen in my meetups just the joy of a friendship and how much it means to our group. We might not have ever connected because we live so far apart because of lack of transportation or just lack of opportunity, never met each other. And now they're year-long friends and get together weekly. We celebrate each other's birthdays and successes. Some people have started going back to work or got work from home jobs, and we celebrate those. And COVID has brought us together, and it has definitely improved access for folks with disabilities because transportation and caregiving sometimes has been barriers. So now we can get together and people have more options. So I've definitely realized that.
There was a lot of positive things that came from the pandemic, one of which is it made things more accessible for me. There started being Zoom meetings, which instead of trying to find transportation to meetings or events, I could just hop on and participate. It made it a lot easier and practical. And also the closed captioning that's available in Zoom was quite helpful for me. Sometimes people forget to add it, and then you have to be a great self-advocate and remember to ask. Because if you don't ask, no one's going to know you need it, so it won't happen. Another positive thing is that it started allowing me time to do more disability advocacy, and I was able to get a bigger following on my disability advocacy Facebook page. That's called Sydney's Disability Advocacy and Self-Determination. I started a few years ago, but I didn't have a great big following like I do now. I think I almost have 300 followers. Advocacy is important because it gives myself and other disability advocates an opportunity to change their lives and change policies and other things that matter, and gives them a chance to speak up about things that aren't going well. Another opportunity that I had during the pandemic is I started teaching the ARC Academy course called Health Matters with the director of the ARC Wisconsin, Lisa Pugh. I really enjoy teaching it because it helps teach people with disabilities how to eat healthy and exercise and just keeps them healthier. And it's a great way to teach virtually because you can interact and play games and do exercises in that format. Another opportunity I had, I became one of the hosts of the YouTube Self-Determination channel, and I'm hosting a new vlog about my life in disability advocacy. It's called Sydney Unplugged.
Here at the Wisconsin African American Women's Center, during COVID time, we had to close down the building to the public. I had to change the way I did business, but my thing was to keep hope alive for my families. I tried to stay in touch with all of my parents, which some of them were having hard times because I had a lot of parents with special need kids that needed hands-on, because I had families where the child just would not sit in front of the computer, that needed to leave home to go to school to understand they were going to school. Some got up and got dressed sitting by the door waiting on the bus. So I did let them come down here a couple of days a week and bring their Chromebooks so that they could kind of keep up with their classes and their studies because they just needed to leave home. They didn't believe school could be at home. So we had to think of different things for them to do. So what I did do is I did send for gift cards. I sent gift cards out to families and had that child like pick a day to have a popcorn night, a movie night, a family night, whatever they wanted to do, and they could figure out what kind of food they wanted to buy, just something to do so it would be something social and something that could be directed, child directed, instead of just the computer. When they got mail from me, they thought that was a great thing. One of my students told me that, "You didn't forget us." I was like, oh my goodness, I had to send her another gift card because I was really feeling happy. And then, we had other things, parents that had problems, they come, they needed to talk. I did have time for one-on-one talking for them because they just needed to get their breakaway from home to just give this upbring the day because it was a lot of dark days during COVID for my families. In the past, I did fashion shows for people with disabilities or abilities, and I did hats and heels for parents. And it was a fun day, and they had a nice dinner, and I just want to do some fun things so everybody can feel loved, understood, and be together. As a rule, I do my resources fair right here at the center in our grand hall room. But during COVID, we were not able to do that. But I needed to get resources regarding COVID and updates on different things that was happening for people with disabilities. It was actually my son's birthday, and I wanted to do something for his birthday. So that's why I decided to do a drive-through resources fair right here behind the center in the alley. They got their resources. They got sub lunches. I went to Subway and got the lunches for them. And they got to talk and chat 2 seconds, and they had to keep it moving. But it was a fun day. They enjoyed the parade style, and I got a lot of phone calls, and it was so funny. I had over 30 people that came to my house afterwards thinking it was at my house. So there was another drive-through in the alley behind my house that evening. The good thing that I'm doing now, still in the process of doing, I'm doing vaccine clinics. And my first one was very good. We had a free soul food meal and people came out for that. The second one, it was just a walkthrough with a bagged lunch and resources. The good thing is that my Hyatt Pharmacy is going into the homes for me, for people who couldn't leave home. And right now we've had over 100 in-house shots done. I tell them all the time, get the shot, it means a lot. And they say, Dolores, okay, we'll get the shot. I'm like, yay, so I win.
What I did right away, as quickly as I could, as my mind could catch up with the news, is identify 2 priorities for our organization. Our number one priority that came first, no matter what was going on or what the situation was that we were going to prioritize the health and safety of our members, their families, and the staff team of Love Inc. That was just far and away the most important thing for us to do. And then secondary to that, we made a commitment as an organization, as a staff team, that we were going to provide whatever support we could to people to get them through the pandemic. Whatever that looked like, whatever was safe, we were going to do it. And so that was where the idea of our virtual distractions came from, was this absolute desire to help people feel connected in a time when we were all just stuck at home and couldn't go anywhere or do anything. Very quickly, our staff team started talking with members, helping to make sure they all had the technology they would need. We tried a bunch of different video conferencing tools before we figured out which one was the easiest to use for our members. We spent a lot of time supporting people to get accounts we ended up using Zoom, and so we were helping everybody get on Zoom, talking them through it on the phone, or if we were in person, and making sure that they had what they needed for that. And then we started trying it. You know, we got input from the people we support about what kinds of activities might be fun to do virtually, and we just started trying things, and we kept trying and didn't stop. At the peak, we were doing about 15 events every week on Zoom. Those could be anything from something with a health and fitness focus to something with more of a social focus. We had a dance group, we had meditation and seated yoga. We also had some that were more social in nature, so an opportunity for members to share something they were passionate about. So we really had this opportunity that we really took advantage of to turn loose the creativity of our community, and it was beautiful to watch.
I participated in Love's virtual distractions, but I also was creative in my own ways, like doing a sports talk. I've also had suggestions and ideas. I did trivia with Star Wars, Simpsons, and I had not only participated in the event, I was hosting them. I had to think about writing questions down for trivia, and I agree I did a good job. It takes some thinking. It's sometimes not easy as it looks. I did have to sit there and go, what's another good question here or there? So it was manageable, and I'm glad we all enjoyed it and did it. I knew that we weren't going to be able to have our in-person Halloween party, but I'm glad that it was manageable to happen on Zoom. So that's what we did. I planned it and was a DJ myself. And people got into costumes and just rocking and rolling to Halloween music and dancing. And it was just as fun.
One of the things that we really realized was that there were all kinds of resources available to support families through the pandemic, but it can be very confusing to navigate these supports and services. We created a position that we call the Family Navigator, and the Family Navigator supports a family as they're navigating either new services and systems or to navigate the pandemic and figuring out, I lost my job. Am I eligible for unemployment? Where do I go for that paperwork? How do I find out about it? A lot of families were overwhelmed just by the caregiving duties that they had for their loved ones with disabilities. Maybe their day program had shut down or their schools were closed and they weren't able to do that. So they couldn't juggle it all. And the Family Navigator role was designed really to support families who needed it the most at a very critical time to get those supports and services.
I started doing meditation and yoga at the YMCA. And when I haven't been able to make it to the YMCA, I do meditation by myself. I live in an apartment. I'll go down to the community room and I'll sometimes close my eyes or put on some jazz music. And what that does for me is just be able to appreciate the oneness of being by myself. And sometimes my mom will even take me to the lakefront and I just like to look at nature and realize that I don't have to be around people all the time. Since I'm on the board of directors for Special Olympics, we had a lot of meetings. So I was using Zoom a lot, but that was a way for me to stay in contact. A lot of times they wanted me to speak or give a speech about my story as being the only Afro-American on the board of directors for Special Olympics and being an athlete with autism. So it's like I always had communications. And I always find something positive to do when I'm bored, whether it's reading the Bible, chatting with my mom, or just getting out to get a breath of fresh air. And then I have like a best friend from high school that I call and communicate with him. I always find something to do.
I mentored a lot of advocates through the pandemic to help them feel more positive, and I checked up on them on a daily basis. I noticed that all of us were having a hard time trying to be positive. So what I did was I created a Positive Vibes Facebook page that had positive quotes, which I post things daily, try to motivate people, try to make, lift each other up, check up on each other, see how each other are doing, raise positivity. I just give everyone a friendly reminder to be kind to each other, and I hope this can be a safe place if you're looking for positivity in your life. People with and without disabilities are on. And I just thought of it one day and it really worked. And it almost has 500 subscribers. Another thing I did was I brought care packages to local friends in the community. I even sent some off to people that were in other communities to make them feel better. Another things I did during the pandemic was I taught Living Well, Safe and Free classes and peer coaching classes. I did all these classes through Zoom, through Headwaters and BPDD. They were about abuse and neglect and about safety in the community and about dating. I really saw the impact I was doing with a lot of my students at Headwaters. I've seen so many of these people being molded as an advocate, and now they are known around the state as being a great advocate. And people getting jobs, people getting on Zoom meetings, people getting on boards, and it's all because of positivity and encouragement. The sky is the limit. You can do anything you put your mind to.
We learn from all of this that no matter how dark the situation can be or how impossible we think something is in front of us, once we get together and we put our minds together and our efforts together, we can, as a humanity and as a community, survive anything.
I learned Zoom. I learned how to be more patient with myself and other people, and I learned to get through a most difficult time.
I came to realize that the world is a lot smaller. We all can make a difference.
I personally have come to the conclusion that we need to take life one day at a time and do the best we can in our everyday life, because we never know what tomorrow could bring.
Something I appreciate is the virtual format of things, because it gives everyone an equal opportunity to attend meetings and events.
The surprise I felt in watching people with disabilities really adapt and cope and show the resilience they had and do the best they could was astounding to me.
I got more communication with my family, who I lived with.
I appreciate now more of the personal connections you make with people, like one-on-one conversations I would have at board meetings and networking.
Appreciate your loved ones. Cherish the time, cherish every moment, and just be appreciative of life.
Now, let's all hope and pray and put all of our energy together so that this pandemic will be over soon and we can be with one another, embracing one another once again. Let's just enjoy each other in the little screens, the little squares, and let's make the best out of it. Let's have the best conference yet.
Have a nice conference, everyone.
No.
Thank you to our keynote presenters for sharing their experiences and helping all of us get through these tough times a little easier. We also want to give a shout out to the many essential workers in our community and those who have done amazing things to help their friends, neighbors, and complete strangers during the past year. We all know someone, and maybe you are that someone.
Hi everyone, my name is Courtney. I work at Walgreens in Antigo, Wisconsin, and I'm an essential worker.
Hi, I'm Kitty. I work at Great Lakes Tomahawk. I'm an essential worker.
Thank you and all essential workers. Now it's your turn. All you people out there watching, the Self-Determination Conference is an opportunity to listen to each other so that we can learn from each other. The conference is a safe place to share your story with others and support and encourage each other along the way. One place to share your story is at the Self-Determination YouTube channel Hangout tonight at 7 p.m. We will be recording during this meetup. Please join us and share your story. And check out the Self-Determination YouTube channel. If you haven't already, please subscribe. Now go and check out more exhibitors, micro businesses, and sessions. Thank you and have a good conference.